All right. The last section of creative thinking that we'll be looking at is different techniques, which can be used to make it easier to solve problems. Okay, so let's have a look at the first one. This one you may have seen before, the Delphi technique. All right, so there's pros and cons to this one because uh, you have a panel of experts that are dealing with this one as well, but it does take a little bit of time. So let's have a look. Firstly, an initial questionnaire is put together and distributed to these panelists. Okay, so if it's a particular area, maybe it's got to do with finance, then you would get a panel of experts in the financial industry, okay, to answer these questions. So the panelists answer the questions independently, so it's objective, okay, unbiased point of view. Moderator summarizes these responses and provides a feedback report. Then also putting together a second questionnaire. Okay, so then the expert panelists, they look at the responses, they evaluate that feedback report, and using that, they answer the second questionnaire. Okay, from this information, the answers, the moderator then develops a final summary which can be put forward to management as a report. Okay, and then the management can make the final decision. The second one is force field analysis. All right, so you first write your plan or your proposal for change in the middle of the top of your page. Okay, you can have a flip chart where you've got the proposal along the top, then you have two columns, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left is forces in support of the change, and then the right, forces against. Okay, so pros or cons. Then you list all the different points that you have in place, either a pro or a con, and you allocate a score, either weak, whether maybe it's not so important, okay, or it's a strong point, okay, maybe it's not, it is very, very important. From that, you'll have a list of points that have allocated scores, and then you are able to total up at the bottom. So you'll have a total for your pros, total for your cons, and through that, you have a quantifiable result as to which you should go for. So weigh up your pros and your cons and decide if the project is viable. Is it something that we can go ahead with? If so, find ways to increase the forces for change and diminish the forces against the change. So how can you go about getting people on board if they're not really willing to change? How can you motivate them in such a way that they change their minds? Brainstorming, this is something that we would have spoken about a couple of slides ago. First and foremost, a team of people contribute to a brainstorming session. Each person suggests a number of solutions, okay, and these are written down. Can be as bizarre suggestions as you would think. Okay, that's the key point here. No criticisms or judging of suggestions that have been put forward. All options are considered and the best one is selected. Okay, it does take quite a lot of time, okay, because everybody's point of view needs to be considered. Okay, so it can take quite some time. Okay, it is important to evaluate the effectiveness of that solution thereafter. If the solution has been selected and implemented, there should be monitoring of that effectiveness over a period of time. And then if it's seen not to be effective, then it should be reassessed. Okay, the normal group technique. Okay, people go to an idea generating meeting. Okay, each member writes down his solution to the problem. Okay, so everybody considers. Group members take turns to present their idea without any discussion. Thereafter, each idea is discussed, the advantages and disadvantages are discussed, and then the final decision is made using a pre-selected rating scale.